Jenny knows how much I love hugs, so I must really like her. All right, when Jenny first asked me to speak, I was honored. When she told me it was about advice that I would give to little Denise, I was then just worried. Mainly because I wasn't sure if someone would be here with a censor button, and little Denise could use a lot of work. And I knew that I would be harsh. As a promise to her, and a rite of passage to myself, a promise to not need the censor button this evening. And also, my grandmother's here today, so that kind of helps because she's like an automatic censor button. She's giving me the eye already, just so you know. I have 3 words for teenage Denise. They're simple, they're pompous, but they're valid to my everyday life. You're welcome, world. I tell people this as often as they'll listen to me. Wake up every morning and say to yourself, to the mirror, out loud, to your dog or your cat, or even your fish, you're welcome, world. I used to worry that this would come out as far too confident, but then as the great philosopher Demi Lovato once said, what's wrong with being confident? The answer to that is simple. Nothing. There's not a damn thing, sorry grandma, not a damn thing wrong with being confident if you can back it up. Waking up and telling the world you're welcome forces you to do something that will elicit a "thanks for showing up today" comment from the world the next morning. Sometimes the gestures are more grand than others. Yesterday, I got to stand with a group of my friends and my family and honor 4 Portage High School seniors by awarding them with a well-deserved scholarship from the Jim G. Carpenter Foundation named in honor of my late father. Late as in he's dead, not that he's not here so we can keep going. Don't worry about it. I know this morning that the world said thanks. Thanks for helping these outstanding students, people who will change, shape, and impact the world as they get older. Sometimes the gesture is much smaller. Taking a small moment from my day to hold the door for someone when I'm in a hurry. Sometimes it's just biting my tongue and remembering to have a filter before I speak. And any of you that know me personally, especially my mother, will tell you that is a feat, and it is not a small one. Your welcome world is only 3 words, but it reminds you that you have purpose, that everything that you do impacts the world, and that those days when you think nothing is worth it, you know those days. I had one of those days trying to write the speech. Nothing's working, everything is wrong, I should just give up and build a fort. I did that day too. And give up. But then what would the world say to you tomorrow morning? Would it thank you? Would it recognize your efforts? Probably not. So take a deep breath, you look around and you say, what's a thank you moment? Is it taking time to visit someone in a nursing home? Is it writing a few words of wisdom to someone who's having a rough day as well? If you've ever been my friend, you realize that my moments probably revolve more around sending you a hilarious email or a ridiculously inappropriate meme, but I bet that you laughed or that you at least rolled your eyes. I'm not changing the entire world, but I am changing pieces of my own world and those around me every time I create a thank you moment. I realize my attitude isn't for everyone. I can't tell you the number of times that someone has rolled their eyes at me or told me it's okay for them to be angry or upset, and you know what? It is. But it's also okay that I spend the majority of my life looking at the world as if there is a potential unicorn or cupcake around every corner. Everybody really deserves a bit of magic, and looking for the unicorns is mine. Seriously. Because the world is full of doom and gloom. We can't change that, but we can change how we view it and how we approach it. Someone remarked the other day on how I can make anything positive and funny, and I simply replied, I defriended doom and gloom from my social media years ago, and my life has been so much more fulfilling since. I've never discounted the charmed parts of my life. I have a great set of friends and family, and I'm not just saying that because they're over there. My support system is universal. My parents raised me in a way that taught me, nurtured me, showed me by example, but never stifled a bit of who I was. So it's their fault, just so you know. And I know they had to at least wanted to, or at least they thought about covering my mouth with duct tape once or twice. So a big shout out to them for pointing me in the right direction always, but also allowing me the space to fail, to succeed, and being there beside me no matter which of that was happening. They gave me the best education possible from an early age. At what cost, I had no idea at that point. If you ask my mom, the tuition for private school was what made us eat hot dogs and macaroni and cheese my grade school years, but they never let on. That's probably because I thought it was my favorite meal and that's why we were eating it, and now that I know the truth, I'm kind of miffed, but I suppose we can let it slide. I've been lucky enough to also stumble into a job that fits me and my personality to a T. Every day I get to work with the community, provide information and resources to those who need it, and be myself, and they actually pay me. And I get to do all of it while wearing Superman socks with capes, which I'm doing right now as we speak. That doesn't mean that bad things haven't happened to me. My father battled cancer for 8.5 years before he passed away. My home, including all of my belongings and my beloved dog, was consumed by a house fire when I was 25. And let's just say my career trajectory didn't take off at the speed or the velocity I anticipated after 7.5 years of college, and I'm not a doctor, but the student loans certainly came in at lightning speed. My point is, I've loved and I've lost. I had the same experiences that everybody else has, maybe even more. So I don't come from the land of nothing but rainbows and puppies and unicorns. But once I started to recognize those happy moments instead of just the doom and gloom, every day became a little bit easier. Every day I find a reason to make the world say, thanks, Denise. Thanks for showing up today. Sometimes I reach the end of my rope and the end of a day, and I realize if I woke up the next morning, could I say, you're welcome? It forces me to reevaluate my day in a way that shows me the positives. Right, I say to myself, today was a doozy. It was rough. But there was that little girl in the lobby at work who was crying. Remember how you stopped, you bent down, you talked to her, went back to your office and found a sticker book to your office, made yourself late to that meeting with your boss. Oops. But remember how she smiled? You're welcome, world. The day isn't near as dark, it isn't near as lost, because you found the bright spots, the thank you spots. And after a while, you don't even realize you're providing the world with thank you moments, you just do them. And guess what? The world says thank you every day. You're welcome, world. And you're welcome, Jenny. I didn't even need the censor button, except that one time.